There isn't a clear moment when it happens. No signal, no internal click, no announcement that something has settled. Most of the time, you don't even notice it at first. You're just already living again. Not in a dramatic way, not in a starting over way, not in a way that feels like progress. Life is simply happening, and you're inside it. You wake up, you get dressed, you make food, you respond to what's in front of you, you move through a day, and none of it feels like a step forward or backward. It just feels like a day. This is usually when people expect something else to happen. They expect a conclusion, a resolution, a sense of arrival, but nothing arrives, because nothing was paused. Life didn't wait. While you were thinking, while you were questioning, while you were trying to understand what changed, life kept adjusting on its own. Schedules reshaped themselves. Relationships found new rhythms. Your energy reorganized. Your attention shifted without being asked. You didn't decide to move on. You just did. And that can feel confusing, especially if you were taught that change is supposed to be intentional, that growth is supposed to be visible, that healing is supposed to feel like something. But this doesn't feel like healing. It feels ordinary. You still have thoughts. You still have moods. You still have preferences. You still have resistance sometimes. But there's less weight behind them. They don't pull the whole system with them anymore. A thought comes up, passes. An emotion shows up. It moves through. You don't have to finish anything before continuing your day. Life already adjusted. That phrase doesn't point to an insight, points to a condition. The condition where life reorganizes itself without consulting your understanding. Most people assume that awareness or change or inner shifts should lead to a new way of thinking. But often what happens instead is a change in how much thinking matters. The mind still works, still comments, still narrates, but it's not the center of gravity anymore. And when that happens, something subtle changes in how days feel. Not better, not worse, just less managed. You're no longer holding the day together with interpretation. The day holds itself. You go to work without deciding what it means. You take care of responsibilities without turning them into a story. You rest when you're tired without asking if you deserve it. Nothing is being optimized. Nothing is being improved. Life is just being lived. That's why this phase is easy to miss. There's no peak experience to point to, no dramatic contrast. If anything, it can feel like something went quiet that you didn't realize was always running. The constant internal reviewing, the background checking, the subtle question, how am I doing right now? It doesn't disappear completely, but it loses urgency. And when urgency fades, so does the sense that something needs to be resolved before you can continue. You continue anyway. You don't wake up thinking, I've integrated. You wake up thinking about coffee, or traffic, or what needs to get done, or nothing at all. And that's not a failure. That's life functioning. A lot of people worry here. They wonder if they've become numb, if they've lost depth, if they're avoiding something. But numbness has a certain tightness to it. This isn't that. This is looseness. You can still feel sadness. You can still feel frustration. You can still feel joy. But those feelings don't demand interpretation. They don't insist on becoming conclusions. They come, they go. The system doesn't organize itself around them. That's what already adjusted means. It means the center moved, not from one idea to another, from ideas to life itself. And life doesn't need to be convinced. It doesn't need a reason. It doesn't need permission. It moves, even when the mind is quiet, even when the mind is unsure, even when the mind is tired. Especially then, you might notice you explain yourself less, not because you're closed off, not because you don't care, but because you're not carrying a position anymore. You don't feel the need to make your inner state legible. You don't feel the need to translate your experience into something stable. You're allowed to be inconsistent. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to not know what something means. That freedom doesn't feel exciting, feels calm, And calm can feel strange if your system learned to equate intensity with aliveness. If your history taught you that awareness should feel sharp, that insight should feel electric, that meaning should feel charged. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like walking, step after step. No commentary required. You still have a personality. You still have habits. You still have tendencies, but they're no longer under review. You don't need to improve them before using them. You don't need to justify them. You just move with what's there. That's why reflection changes here. Reflection doesn't disappear. It just comes later. Life happens. Then thought comments. Not the other way around. You act. Then you realize you acted. You respond. Then you notice how. You speak. Then you hear yourself. That reversal is quiet, but it's profound. Because when reflection is late, it loses authority. It becomes descriptive instead of directive. It can say, that's what happened, but it can't say, here's who you are. And that's a relief you didn't know you needed. Because for a long time, reflection probably felt like responsibility. Like if you didn't analyze yourself, something would go wrong. Like if you weren't watching closely, you'd miss a mistake. Like if you stopped narrating, you'd disappear. But you didn't disappear. You're still here, doing things, caring, responding, living, without constant supervision. This is where life gets smaller. And that's not an insult. Smaller means closer, less symbolic, less charged, less dramatic. A conversation is just a conversation. A mistake is just a mistake. A good moment is just a good moment. They don't echo endlessly. They don't define the whole landscape. And when that happens, time feels different. Days aren't measured as successes or failures. They're just days. Some are heavy, some are light, most are mixed, and none of them need to prove anything. You don't have to turn your life into a lesson anymore. That urge softens, not because you decided to stop learning, but because life stopped presenting itself as a test. You may still reflect sometimes. That's human. You may still wonder what something meant. That's normal. But the wondering doesn't stall you. You don't wait for clarity before acting. You don't pause life until understanding arrives. You move, and understanding, if it comes later. This is where many people get uncomfortable, because they were taught that awareness should lead, that consciousness should be in charge, that you should know why you're doing something before you do it. But life doesn't work that way. The body moves before thought. Emotion shifts before explanation. Decisions happen before reasons appear. That's not regression. That's how it always was. What changed is that you're no longer trying to reverse the order. You're no longer insisting that thought be first. You let life go first. And that changes the tone of everything. Responsibility becomes quieter. You still show up. You still do what needs to be done, but without the internal posture of, I am being responsible. Care happens without identity. You help because help is needed. You work because work is there. You rest because you're tired. Not because it aligns with a value. Not because it expresses who you are. It just happens. And that's deeply stabilizing, because identity is heavy. Identity needs consistency. Identity needs explanation. Identity needs maintenance. Life doesn't. Life adapts. It shifts weight, finds balance, compensates. You don't have to tell it how. That's why this season isn't about doing integration. There's nothing to do. Integration already happened, not as an event, as a quiet settling, like dust after movement, like water after a ripple, like muscles after tension releases. You didn't finish anything. Life just found its footing, and you might notice something else. There's less urgency to talk about it, less urgency to share what you've realized, less urgency to explain yourself to others or to yourself, because explanation isn't stabilizing you anymore. Living is. That doesn't make you passive. It makes you available. Available to what's here instead of what it means. You can listen without preparing a response. You can work without tracking your performance. You can be with people without managing how you're perceived. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It means care isn't filtered through self-reference. You don't have to be someone while you're living. You can just live. And if there's a fear here, it's usually this: if I stop reflecting so much, will I lose something important? But notice what you've already lost. You lost the constant pressure to be coherent. You lost the need to frame your life. You lost the demand that everything add up. And nothing collapsed. Your relationships didn't disappear. Your responsibilities didn't vanish. Your creativity didn't die. It just changed texture. Less dramatic, more consistent, less inspired, more available. And that's not a downgrade. It's a shift from intensity to endurance, from peaks to ground, from moments to continuity. Life didn't wait for you to be ready for that. It didn't wait for you to approve it. It just adjusted. And you adjusted with it. Not because you planned to, because you're part of life, not separate from it. This episode isn't asking you to stop reflecting. It's not asking you to stop thinking. It's not asking you to let go of anything. It's simply pointing out what's already happening, that you are already living in the aftermath, already functioning, already moving, already adjusting, even on days that feel strange, even on days that feel dull, even on days that feel uncertain. Life didn't pause for those days either. It included them, and that inclusion is the quiet stability this season lives in. No arrival, no departure, just life already adjusted.